Story 1. Someone has already said it, but some of the wealthiest people I have ever met worked in sales. They also happen to be some of the least intelligent people I have ever met. Story 2. My friend and I own a line striping company. We paint lines in parking lots, garages, and similar areas. We both drive modest cars and do not necessarily live beyond our means. Since it is just the two of us, our overhead is basically limited to our time. We can make around $2,000 from an approximately $100 bucket of traffic paint, and we are constantly busy. I feel like people just see two 27-year-olds in fluorescent vests and would probably be extremely surprised at what we make. I did not expect this many questions, but am happy to answer them. It is great that so many people are interested in striping. I am not affiliated with him, but there is an older man from Ohio named Dan. His company is called American Striping. On his website, you can find a very good book that covers everything from starting up to tips and tricks on the job. I am not providing a link because I am not sure that is allowed here, but you can find it on his website. It is very useful information. Story 3. Linemen. No, not the football players. The people who fix electric lines. They make good money, especially during overtime to restore power after a storm. Story 4. This will probably get buried, but anything with legal support. My husband has been a legal videographer for years. He records video of mostly depositions. Someone is always suing someone else. Story 5. Being a seafarer, a master or chief engineer earns between $15,000 and $20,000 per month net after taxes. They can maximize their earnings by completing a full 9-month tour, although I have not seen a master do that in a while. Story 6. Tugboat driver. My half-brother is a tugboat driver. At 23 years old, he was offered an offshore job for $250,000. He did not take it, opting for other roles that led to a permanent position in the city of his choice. Story 7. Medical spas generate significant revenue. Essentially, they sell either water or cosmetic treatments under the guise of a medical license. Transactions are typically cash only. The results are temporary at best or ineffective at worst. People generally believe doctors earn enormous incomes. However, they usually make a comfortable living. Doctors who engage in questionable medical practices, however, can earn substantial amounts. Story 8. Personal trainers. Most are financially struggling because they work in large chain gyms that do not treat them fairly or do not take the job seriously. A good self-employed personal trainer can earn $100 per hour easily. I have earned 6 figures annually for the last 12 years and have been in business for 15 years. Story 9. The job I am already doing. We lost a teammate, and the job posting went up for $40,000 more per year than what I am making doing the same job. I approached the boss about it, and he said the market is really tough and it is not fair, but they have to offer that much to get someone new in. I asked for a raise to match market pay, and he said that comes out of a different budget, and the raise's budget is dry. Story 10. I was a flooring installer and owner for years before transitioning to the front office for large-scale companies. I consistently made $200,000 to $300,000 after taxes and paying my crews and helpers. Now I focus on investments, including property development and rentals. When I tell people how I started, they are surprised that I used to grind away doing hard labor with no college degree and now, in my 40s, live a semi-retired life. You see a beat-up old truck carrying carpet around. He's making 6 figures easily if he's doing it right. Story 11. Professors in professional schools make between $200,000 and $400,000, which is the norm for teaching law, business, and medicine. Story 12. Industrial maintenance. I maintain a Walmart distribution center and I will make approximately $90,000 this year in central Indiana. Minimal overtime. I also do not really do that much, to be honest. I replace a few parts a week and clear jams on conveyors. I used to design, build, test, and install the equipment I work on now, and I made less money. Story 13. I work an office services job. I handle mail and a variety of tasks, including filling dishwashers and similar duties. Most people assume I am a $20 per hour glorified mailroom worker, but I earn more than many of the people I serve here. $75,000. Not the best, but definitely more than people assume. Story 14. Data analyst is often referred to as a low-level job, particularly in films and television about government work. However, a good data analyst is highly valuable, rare, and very well paid. Story 15. Boring business owners. Nothing exciting, just the regular day-to-day tasks. Mine is 9 months, a year, and 6 figures when I was on my own. They are very recession-proof and infinitely scalable. Story 16. Apparently every job. It's funny. I'm sitting there, making $25,000, reading this article saying starting wage in my job is $43,000. And I'm like, laugh out loud, what? Edit. Just to be clear, I am older than some of you might imagine. This was in the 1990s, not 2025. Laugh out loud. Story 17. English tutors in China. Or better yet, music teachers here. If you can play an instrument such as violin, piano, or cello, you are in high demand. I know people who charge around $130 per hour to teach music to children. Story 18. River pilots on the southern Mississippi River board large boats to take responsibility for piloting them up or down a small section of the river, usually about 20 miles for each captain. The river is very tricky with sandbars and other hazards. Then the next pilot takes over for his section. Each pilot earns about $650,000 per year for piloting boats along a 20-mile section. Story 19. My friend is a professional clown for children and adult parties. She specializes in balloon animals. She charges $200 an hour and receives tips. Story 20. I know a psychologist who works 28 hours a week and makes nearly $300,000. He only accepts cash. Story 21. Executive assistant. Most people think, office manager probably types and files making $20, and sure, entry level. But when you get into the higher levels, 6 figures, stock options, and bonuses are not uncommon at all. A lot of that is executive and company dependent, but you can make a very good living essentially being the only responsible adult in the room to a group of immature grown men. Story 22. Lice removal specialists. School nurse here. We have had to contract with outside providers a couple of times for particularly stubborn cases of lice. One family paid $1,000 to have someone come to their house and check and clear everyone. For people, 2 adults and 2 children. Took about 4 hours, literally $250 an hour. Story 23. Commodities traders are often unassuming individuals in casual dress who work for lesser-known firms and earn 7 figures per year. Story 24. Freelancing your skills instead of being employed. I make 2 to 3 times as much in my industry and work far fewer hours. Story 25. I am not sure how relevant this is now. In the mid-2010s, when I told my friend's mother I was going to be a nurse, she said, "Oh, so you like that sort of thing? That's dirty." She made a face and said that her son was going to study engineering. I graduated in 2016 and was making $70,000, which was a lot at the time. I went on to become a nurse practitioner in 2023. I am now making $160,000. I also earned more than her son in both years. It is more apparent now that nurses make good money, especially after the COVID-19 pandemic, with the rise of travel nursing becoming popular. It was very hard back then. I recall my uncle always telling me, "How hard can nursing be? You only clean people, right?" I also make more than his son who works in finance. Story 26. Crane operators. I have heard of a person who earned $200,000 per year. However, I am unsure what the typical wage is, but it is certainly higher than most people would expect. Story 27. My mom was bartending right out of college and making close to 6 figures 30 years ago. Her first real job offer out of college paid under $40,000. She said it was a hard decision whether to take it or not. She took it, and in hindsight, it was definitely the right move. So bartending can be a good option if you are in the right place or the right kind of person. Story 28. I work as a coordinator for a military installation. It is a unique job with no supervisor, and no one knows exactly what I do. I am guaranteed 24 hours of overtime per month. I make $50 an hour. Per my contract, I work 4 hours a day but get paid for 8 because I am on call. Despite this, my two other coworkers still find reasons to complain. Story 29. I will say this as a Canadian very specifically, but registered massage therapists do better than you think. I make about $120,000 per year, $90,000 after taxes, and it took me 3 years of school. I work a 30-hour work week. The issue is the burnout rate, so you end up having to work out every day. I always recommend my career to people looking for a change. Story 30. Original post. What jobs make a lot of money that people do not realize? In this thread, list all the jobs people already realize that make lots of money. Story 31. Gas companies generate significant revenue, and many employees in major cities have only high school diplomas. Story 32. Diesel mechanic. My child started at $43 an hour with a 2-year degree, $12,000 in initial bonuses, $6,000 annually in retention bonuses and tool allowances. Why did I get a degree in accounting 25 years ago? My 20-year-old son is making nearly what I am after his overtime and bonuses. I absolutely love it. Story 33. I overheard the child making balloon animals at the farmer's market near me say, he is earning close to $100,000 a year. He works for tips and does not charge a fee. He was very skilled and could make creations like dragons and a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Story 34. I started a handyman business while in engineering school during COVID-19. After a couple of years, I realized I was making more money as a handyman than I would as an engineer. Owning my own business is stressful and can be hard on the body sometimes, but it keeps me fit. I do the work I love. I get to make my customers happy. And because I set my own schedule, I have never missed a single one of my son's soccer games, band concerts, or award ceremonies. Story 35. Unpleasant jobs vary depending on the area and other factors. Many janitors and sanitation workers earn between $75,000 and $100,000 annually. I have seen numerous individuals with $40,000 to $50,000 degree jobs advising these workers to advance like them and earn more. They do not realize that this advice implies a 50% pay cut. Story 36. Firefighting in specific cities. A family friend told me I am going to be middle class for the rest of my life by choosing this career. My relative receives a $27,000 per month tax-free pension. Many people who choose to retire early receive $11,000 or more each month. That pension is 50 to 75% of our salary. Many firefighters earn $200,000 per year, and supervisors earn between $275,000 and $300,000 per year. Wild. Story 37. Apparently, my hairstylist increased the price of a basic women's cut from $65 to $85 to $104 in about 3 years, while retail space rents in that area have even dropped. I wish my pay had increased like that. Yes, I understand that product costs are higher these days, but overall, that jump is insane. This is just another example of extreme price increases while most wages remain stagnant. Story 38. I work for a communications company in Montana. I make over $100,000 and have medical, dental, a 401k with over $500,000 in it, and a registered nurse service retirement with over $1 million in it. The company spends about $170,000 to $185,000 yearly on each individual worker. The older workers make considerably more than the younger employees, who will likely never reach our wages and do not receive medical and dental benefits after retirement. Our entire exchanges are completely fiber optic, so the overhead is much lower now. I used to have 20 to 30 jobs daily and could never get caught up. Now, with fiber, I receive a job about once every 2 weeks, usually changing out a battery, which takes 2 minutes. My supervisors are almost 100 miles away and never check on me. It is a very easy job now, and I am just waiting to retire. In my opinion, the younger employees should receive the same benefits we have, especially since every exchange is brand new and the company will continue to generate revenue. There is nothing left to upgrade, so the money should be spent on the younger employees. Story 39. Dog walkers in high-income areas make a lot of money. I am friendly with one in my area. She easily earns over $100,000 and definitely does not work 40 hours a week. If I am ever long-term laid off, that is the plan. Story 40. I am a heating engineer in the United Kingdom. I am not especially skilled. I work from 8:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. 5 days a week, sometimes later in the winter months, and occasionally on Saturdays. I earned £84,000 last year. Story 41. I dated a nail technician in a high cost of living city in the affluent part of town, and she earned $250,000 that year. It was incredible. No, she was not the owner. Story 42. Contract climbing arborist. It varies, but most people I know charge up to $1,000 for an 8-hour day. Most tree care companies significantly underpay their workers, so the industry in my area has shifted to companies competing to hire climbers. Many underpaid climbers have started their own contracting businesses and hire themselves at 5 times the rate to the same companies that previously paid them about $28 per hour. Story 43. Pipeliners, at least in Canada, are laborers who, in their first year, can make upwards of 120,000 Canadian dollars for 8 months of work with 12-hour days, 6 days a week. Story 44. Waiter or waitress at high-end restaurants. My friend worked at a fancy steakhouse and said people's bills were usually close to $1,000, so he would receive tips around $200 per guest check. Story 45. Nanny. I made $2,000 per week for 4 kids. They bought me a car, paid for gas, insurance, weekly detailing, and repairs. They let me use their ranch, ski resort house, and beach house when they were not using them. I received around 13 weeks of paid vacation. I got amazing bonuses, gifts, and hand-me-downs such as Persian carpets, antique furniture, and artwork. The father was in venture capital and opened a money market account for me. He gave me stock in companies that he funded. Story 46. Healthy reminder to the rest of the world. Most responses here are for United States jobs and salaries. That country is very expensive and individuals pay for everything out of pocket, including healthcare, all taxes, retirement funds, and more. Story 47. I built gas lines for over a decade. The rig welders would earn $6,000 a week after taxes, claiming single and zero exemptions. I knew a few welding foremen who would earn $15,000 a week. I will not comment on the superintendents. Story 48. I know a railroad worker who is obsessed with taking overtime and makes more than $250,000 per year. The average worker makes about $150,000. I make about $100,000 as a contractor, but I only work 4 days a week, so I actually have a life. I am single, so it is more than enough for me. Story 49. Locker room managers and caddies at country clubs. Over $100,000 a season. Busy summers with limited time for social life, but winters off. Play golf for free. Employee meals provided. Retirement savings plan. Being around interesting people. Story 50. Assistant principals earn around $150,000 in the coastal United States. They still get 2 months off for summer. More experienced assistant principals earn closer to $200,000. Story 51. The mechanic I use charges $165 per hour. He does not work on European or specialty cars but can fix almost everything that comes to his shop. His rate is comparable to local shops, but he is always booked and works 10-hour days. Story 52. Golf course greenskeepers and general managers. Clubs are paying general managers over $400,000. The person in charge of mowing the grass makes over $250,000. These are numbers in the Midwest. I feel like nobody is aware of this. Someone who is in charge of the golf course makes that much. I have met these general managers of golf clubs, and they are not very capable. Story 53. Film set grips perform various tasks, but their primary function on most sets is to block, diffuse, reflect, color, and shape light using different textiles. Essentially, they are professional shadow puppeteers. On non-union commercial productions in Washington, D.C., an experienced grip can expect to earn about $750 for a 10-hour day. As a department head, the key grip makes closer to $800 to $850 for a 10-hour day of labor. I once worked as key grip on one of Mike Rowe's shows for 2 days and made close to $3,000 between my labor and the rental of my grip equipment. Essentially, All I did was hold a 4 by 4 foot piece of white styrofoam a few times to bounce sunlight into his eyes. Story 54. Surveyor. I am an attorney and do pretty well. A friend of mine is a surveyor in a small town with 2 full-time employees. He makes between $750,000 and $1 million per year. He drives an old car and tries to appear modest. Story 55. Delivery to the parking lot for marijuana dispensary. Michigan has legal marijuana. Their dispensary parking lots are packed. There are people who package inside and others who deliver it to the parking lot. The people receiving the marijuana tip the delivery workers for bringing it to the car. I bet the delivery workers make a lot of money each day in cash tips. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.